If your objective is to have realistic filming and camera work in-game, that means your objective is to keep your viewer immersed and interested in your montage, in your edit, or even if in just your single clip, right? This is the exact same objective of a real-life filmer filming skaters in real life, all right? And the singular, most important golden rule in order to be able to achieve this goes like this. The camera must emulate the action. What I mean by that is, if the skater goes up, the camera must also pan upwards so that the viewer can experience that movement visually. If the skater is gonna fall down or drop from something, the camera must pan downwards in order for the viewer to experience the drop visually. So up and down, side to side, closing in, backing up, all of that good stuff. The movement that the camera does needs to be the movement that the skater is doing on screen. This is the core of what makes camera work in-game realistic or not, and it's also the core of what makes skate filming interesting to watch or not. I'm going to show you how to film a standard stationary fisheye shot in just 5 keyframes in skate dot. And I'm also going to show you how to diversify your camera work just a little bit so that it's not always the same cookie cutter shot from one shot to the next, ensuring that you have a bit of variety in your edit. I'm not going to be showing you how to film a line in this video, unfortunately. So let's get into it. Let's get right into the game. And as you can see, I just got my trick. I'm in the replay editor. Let's go into advanced edit. The first thing that you want to do is trim your clip, and trim it so that you have at least 3 seconds before the actual pop of the trick, all right? And you're gonna wanna make sure that you skate off, you roll away from your trick for at least another 3 seconds. Trust me, this is incredibly useful for when you're editing your clips together and you want to make sure your skating lines up with the beat of your song, okay? After that, you head into your keyframes and you change your camera into free and you make your field of view something like 80, maybe 85, okay? Something reasonable. What I mean by reasonable, all right, let me show you right now. If we go up to something like this, take a look at how the distortion on the side of the screen just sort of makes everything go completely out of whack. It's nauseating, all right? So now that the replay editor is set up, let's do the keyframes. Every single skateboarding trick has 3 key moments that the camera work needs to be synchronized with. And those key moments are the pop, the middle of the trick, the moment where your body is at its highest in the air, and the landing, all right? These 3 moments are present in every single skateboarding trick, and your camera work must be doing something in those moments as the skater is doing something in those moments. So let's have the camera do something right now. Let's set in the first of those 5 keyframes is you feature the obstacle that you're about to skate. So a traditional standard would be that if the skater is rolling far away, you don't want to be looking at a tiny speck on your screen. So might as well just feature the obstacle that's about to be skated as the main thing that the viewer is looking at on screen, all right? Next, you go to the pop, specifically where your skater's body starts the animation to jump, to rise up, right? That moment right here, this is where you add your keyframe in. The next keyframe that you want to add, like I said, is the second key moment where you have the middle of the trick. You set in a keyframe there. And the last keyframe you want to set in is right here. So the landing of the trick. A little bit more specifically, anywhere in between the moment the wheels touch the ground to where the body finishes absorbing the impact. So I would say right about here is the latest at which we could put the landing keyframe. And then the shot ends the way it began. We're really promoting the obstacle that we just skated as the skater rides off into the distance, all right? The absolute last of those 5 keyframes is the end of the rollaway, right? The 3-second buffer. And that is it. Let us take a look, and here it is. This is what I mean by 5 keyframes only, all right? There's one last thing that I want to add as a very quick bonus. For manuals or for grinds, especially for like flat bars, you'll want to split the middle of the trick keyframe into 2 keyframes. These 2 keyframes are going to be set at first the moment where the trick locks in, right? The grind or the slide locks in, and it's going to be angled upwards. So the skater went up something, and the whole time that they're grinding or sliding, the camera is pointing up because we're up on something. You follow me? And then the next keyframe is at the end, just before popping out, just before hopping out of your slide. You put a keyframe there, still angled upwards, because that's going to allow your camera to go from that keyframe to the next, which is the landing, and angle the shot downwards, all right? Because we're hopping off. Now, allow me to introduce you to something that I call the whoosh. So in this particular instance, we're starting the clip by showing the obstacle in full view and the skater off in the distance. Now, as the trick begins, we see the skater traveling from one side of the screen all the way to the other side of the screen. This is what you call the whoosh. It's a name I've given to a technique that is industry standard in basically almost every fisheye shot that there has been since the early to mid 2000s, but don't take my word for it, alright? Go take a look at any skate video that has been released since the early 2000s up until present day, and just take note at how much of a standard it is in every fisheye shot, or almost, alright? The whoosh. It is not just some haloof thing, it is there. It just doesn't have a name outside of this YouTube channel, alright? But it's there and it exists. Now, it's time to put all of those together in different ways, all right? So we're gonna diversify, not the trick, the camera work, all right? Because it doesn't matter what trick you've got lined up, if the camera work is exactly the same from one trick to the next, you've got a compilation of skateboarding tricks set to some background music, but you do not have a skate part, all right? You do not have a skate video. So for the next shots, I'm going to keep the UI on screen so you can see that it's always the same 5 keyframes with the same 3 key moments, alright? So starting off, if you want your clip to have a bit more of a late 90s, early 2000s, golden age of skating type of feel, have your filmer set at the bottom of the stairs and really have an impactful landing on screen, alright? Or have them at the top of the stairs and really make your viewer feel the takeoff for that big stair set, alright? You can also put yourself in the middle of the stairs and have the skater sort of suddenly appear from at the top of the stairs and just ride the rail all the way down. You could do something that I call a flyby, where your filmer is positioned somewhere in the middle of a ledge or rail and the skater just slides right past them, passing real close to the camera. I would definitely use this in situations where the grind itself, maybe the obstacle, is the main feature, as opposed to having some flip in, flip out stuff like Owen Wilson would say. For gaps, you have something that I call a pivot shot, where you keep the skater and the spot and the trick. You keep all 3 elements on screen the entire time. In order to do that, you have to keep your camera far away, and you have to revolve around an invisible point between the camera and the skater, alright? So as one moves through, the other one responds by moving around, and it's all around a middle point that is invisible to the viewer, alright? This effect is really cool for highlighting the environment that the skater is doing stuff on, or sometimes for highlighting stuff like roof gaps. I have had moments in my life where I was reaching with my camera over a roof gap and then bringing it back, just because I knew this would be a really sick effect. So definitely dangerous, but not impossible, alright? And as a direct contrast to that, you have what I call the close-up shot, which is pretty self-explanatory. You forsake the environment, the spot, and the skater, and from pop to land, you solely focus on the footwork itself to really highlight the skater's style and the way they just steez out their trick, alright? One of my absolute personal favorites is what I call a reveal shot. It's basically where you hide a crucial last part of an obstacle and you purposefully mislead the viewer into thinking that something is about to happen or something is happening, but then you reveal the rest of the spot and suddenly there's a huge drop after the rail, or suddenly there's a huge like gap that they have to clear from their nose slide with a heel flip out, you know? So you reveal the crucial part of the spot and of the trick itself as the trick is happening, to really keep your viewer surprised and on the edge of their seat. And that sums it up. So the last thing that I want to say is, if this helped you in any way, if you learned any one thing at all right, I don't care about subs, I don't care about comments, I don't care about any of that. I want you to do the thing. Go get a trick, film it, edit it or don't, and post it somewhere like YouTube, Reddit, and then tag me, man. I want to see the result of this video and people learning that they can put their thoughts and their vision into reality, right? There is a technical way to go about it, and I want to see what comes out of your mind, all right? And I want to hype it up. I want to high five everyone in your comments section. So do the thing, tag me, and let's hype it up, all right? Despite the jank that is still present, we can fight through the jank, all right? Together. All right, let's end it here before it becomes too redundant or too wacky. I'm wishing you sincerely patience for your practice. You're gonna need it because it takes practice. And I'll see you in the next one.